There we go. I have a kind of a long story to tell. We'll see how it comes out. Approximately 7 years ago, well actually 6 years ago, 6 years and a few months, my two kids came to visit me. My estranged children, if you will. I love the if you will. That's a Dusty Rhodes. If you will. If you will. I don't do a very good Dusty Rhodes. But anyway, I had been on the Zone diet for about 12 years. I'd followed it pretty close. And I don't know if Dr. Sears would agree with my approach to the Zone diet, because I pretty much felt like everything was either a protein or a carbohydrate or a fat, and you needed so much, and you needed to eat. And he said you needed to eat 5 or 6 times a day, and you need to stay in this zone. And he explained all about the insulin, glycogen, and then he had all these little tiny little critters that made your body do things. So you need to get your EPAs to build up these little anti-inflammatory agents, and it was all pretty complicated. But I'd been following it, and I believed in it, and I would argue for it. So all of a sudden, my oldest son started going on and on about this movie Fathead, where this dude, I forgot his name, he was too fat, but he is a smart guy, so he decided to do what the guy from the guy who made the movie about going to McDonald's and eating all he could, that vegan guy, Morgan Spurlock. But instead of doing what Morgan did and going in there like a complete imbecile and just doing whatever they ask him, he ate McDonald's in a judicious manner, and he followed a plan. He ate 3 times a day at McDonald's, but he watched how much bread he ate. He didn't drink milkshakes, large sodas, any of that stuff. And he actually lost weight. And then at the end of the movie, he started talking about going into a low-carb diet. And he went into a low-carb diet. And he's an exercise and fitness guru now, if you will. He tells people what to do, and he's in very good shape. And I think since that time, he got married, moved out of an urban environment. I think he lives somewhere in Tennessee, and he's married, doing real good. So I watched that, and I said, wow, that's pretty cool. So then I read some more, researched some more, ran across Mr. Gary Taubes, and I have videos about Mr. Taubes' book. First one I got was Why We Get Fat. And I also got, or later read, Good Calories, Bad Calories. His basic thesis is that because of modern diets and all these massive carbohydrates we eat, our bodies no longer, I took 2 steps, our bodies no longer burn the fat that's on our bodies. Our bodies use the sugar for an energy source, and it will continue, and it does the sugar, and whatever we're doing doesn't get at that body fat, so we gain weight. And that's the part that I like. I mean, he says a lot of things, especially in Good Calories, Bad Calories. It is a 700-page book, or 600 pages, and the sources in it, the source material in the back, I guess it's 150, 200 pages long. So it's a huge book. So to say one thing about it would be ridiculous, because there's study after study after study after study. So I got this material, so I tried it. So he towards back of the book, he says, eat 50 carbs a day. Just eat 50 carbs a day. So I went, I had sausage and eggs for breakfast with green lettuce, with whatever there was, greens. And then I had a hamburger salad for lunch. And then for supper, I had a hamburger with sauce all over it. And they had these mooses around. They had it was a place called Smart and Fresh, where they sold a lot of food, and they had this stuff. And I looked at the package, and it said it had a whole heap of fat and very few carbohydrates. So I said, yeah, I can eat that. So I did. And as my old buddy used to say, dude, I lost 3 pounds a week. No shit. Consistently. I started the diet in August. So I lost 12 pounds a month, 3 pounds a week, consistently. I mean, it went off easy. This thing, it went off like a champ. So when I started, I weighed 227, and I was a big beefy guy. I'd been lifting. I'd been doing heavy squats, heavy cleans, heavy deadlifts, heavy presses, heavy bench presses for years. I've been lifting real consistently since 95. So I wasn't doing that much, because for about a month I couldn't really. It was very hard. I just felt like crap. But in any case, by Thanksgiving, I got down to around 200 pounds. And of course there was some bad avenues along the way, but I got down. And then since that time, I've gotten more into fasting and less into low carb. I do the fast and I watch my carbs. But yeah. So that's pretty much what happened. And here we go. That was in 2010 when that happened. I think my son told me about that. It was like July. I think it was the July weekend of 2010. So that's 6 years and 6 months ago, give or take. Since I went on that diet, I'm still at the mythical 195, 190. I put on a little weight on purpose. So yeah, I wanted to stay. And then at that time, I created a rule that if I got over 195, I'd cut out all the junk, all the carbohydrates. So I got back down to 200 or so. And this time, if you've watched my videos, I trained very hard and worked very hard and got even below that. So I just want to say this is my testimony that it's over. It's 6 years. 6 years since I really got off the diet, and I've stayed at my weight. So I'm an outlier by that. I did it. So let me just say a few things. Number one, I don't know, I'm not a genetics expert, but if your genetics are anything like mine, if you keep your carbohydrates low, you'll lose weight. If you keep them under 50, you'll lose weight. And if you're not, then you need to address whatever your diet is, your inflammation. You need to address that. Or you need to really be on the diet and you're not, and you're cheating. Okay? Secondly, I think exercise is beneficial, because I did exercise. I did say that I didn't exercise, but in the last 6 years I have exercised a lot, and I notice that walking a lot helps. It seems to do something. I know all these people that give you all this advice and explain all this science to you. And the last thing I want to say, first thing I want to say is don't be too extreme. Try to have a decent exercise program. And number 3 is when you give the picture of what you're supposed to be, look at yourself when you were in your high school years or your early 20s, and that should be your goal weight, somewhere in there, because that's naturally where you need to be. You don't have to go to all these extremes. If you're like me and you wanted to bulk up and you want to go outside the parameters of what you were genetically given, then that's a different thing. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about being your best, what you were given from your parents in the genetic profile, and making that maximized. Because if you're eating a lot of processed food, if you're eating a lot of fast food, if you're drinking a lot, all these things, those aren't really things that are going to help you replicate your parents' good genetics and so forth. Because all of us, our parents had good genetics. Simple being because we're here. All our relatives survived. It's that simple. All our relatives were not ate up by the lion. They were not ate up by the tiger. Genghis Khan didn't knock us in the head and rape us and rape our wife or whatever they did. We made it. So we have good genetics. Out.